Well, for those watching, welcome to the Capital Subcommittee of the Finance Committee. Tonight, as posted, we have one item to go over, and that's the IT plans and budget. So we'll start with our honored guest, our IT guru. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the IT director. This is silly. All right, so we're here to discuss the latest project discussion, which is cameras, CCTV. This kind of came about when I had started discussions with the water department and fire department this past year before the dispatch project kind of took off in August, which thankfully it's almost done. And I thought I'd just jump right into cameras thereafter. It started because the fire department had their union negotiations a couple of years ago, and as part of those negotiations, due to theft of personal items found at the fire department, the chief insisted on getting cameras for both departments to ensure that no interpersonal theft was taking place anymore. But as you know from the unions, that takes a while to get through. But it did finally get through. And it was approved, I think, late or early last year. Al would know better. I don't. It's hard to know when unions have their meetings and they have their discussions. And the other one was water department. We had a request from the EPA in 2023 to start placing cameras at our water resource stations due to issues they had found in their history with terrorist attacks on our water resources. So all of the pump stations that you've noticed to pop up over the past 2 years, we have Godfrey Brook is one pump station, and now we're just finishing the Congress Street pump station. Both of those projects actually had cameras in the criteria. The problem is we had not done Dilla Street's main pump station yet, and with that particular location has a lot of foot traffic.
Did you say Godfrey Brook and where?
Godfrey Brook and Congress Street. Those projects thought to include the need for cameras, so that's at least those costs were mixed in. So because the bike trail, or walking trail as it's called, goes through the backside of Dilla Street's water systems filtration, it was wise to try to get cameras at that location on the outside. After discussing with the water department's union, we're not going to have any cameras inside because their employees are not prepared for cameras inside. And no one's accepted the discussion. So it is just outside cameras.
But the EPA wanted cameras where?
Monitoring the perimeter of the water department,
So
not the inside.
Not the inside,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, it's hard enough to get inside that building, but the cameras act as at least a deterrent, and since it's a resource authority, the cameras would have direct access to the dispatch office and police station. Therefore, if something was alerted or a motion was caught, they'd be able to act on it right away. Coming from that, discussion started with the youth center. Well, the youth center already has a slew of cameras in the youth center. The system is aging, and we have 2 hard drive failures in the past 2 months on that system, and we've had to replace a hard drive. We do have to replace several cameras, and there are no cameras monitoring the kids as they leave and cross the crosswalk. We've had issues with pedestrian car accidents. People striking kids trying to cross the crosswalk. You're not aware of that?
No, sir.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, the police department was more than happy to give me details as to what accidents have taken place around certain areas, so I could understand what the need was for coverage. Because that street, is that, I'm trying to remember what street that is.
Pearl Street?
Is it Pearl Street? Okay. the traffic just seems to zoom up and down that street. No one seems to want to stop for the kids when they're crossing to try to get out of the youth center at night. So that was another location. And now after talking to Jimmy Asum, we have Pheno Field, which has been added on because of a lot of, from what I'm told, vandalism and graffiti are taking place at the new Pheno pool. And
New $5 million pool
a brand new $5 million pool.
already has graffiti and.
Already has vandalism, yes. Yeah. It doesn't take long. No. And now Town Park. Town Park is nearing its middle stage. I had gone out there to talk with Jimmy about the possibility of adding one or two cameras to that field just to add safety to the use of the tennis courts and basketball courts, but more safety to those walking and using the new walking trail that'll be done in that area. Plus, since it's going to be so close to the schools, this camera system would be able to be accessed by the schools, SRO, as well as by the town. None of these cameras are license plate cameras. None of these cameras are being used to track people. It's just for property protection and crime prevention. I want to make sure that's known. Because what the police department does with their traffic cams is not anything what I do. So I have to try to separate that out. That's the gist of the camera piece. Would you like to discuss cost?
Yes.
Okay, great. I figured FinCom would want to know how much it costs. So initially, before discussing Town Park and Pheno Field, the cost was about $345,000. Most camera systems, just like, for instance, the one here at Town Hall, was very inexpensive because this particular building just requires its basic security and doesn't have any compliances that it has to abide by federal government. Unfortunately, fire department is considered public safety, so it has to fall under a certain purview. The camera system that is at the police station will be the same camera system that's installed at both fire buildings. Not to the extent that the police department uses it, but it's the same type of system. In other words, the cameras are very similar, but we're not using any of the booking or cell cameras, obviously, in this instance. Very few cameras will be installed inside the fire department, mostly just the turnout areas. And this is the areas where they change from civilian clothes to fire garb. And the perimeter, outside perimeter and whatnot. Especially the gas pumps in the back by the fire training tower area.
Now, you said that the firefighters wanted it to protect items being stolen.
Correct. And that's the turnout area.
Why is it, I mean, is it not guarded? Is it not watched?
No, I mean, the fire department is, you know, from what I see, it's like a family there. Everybody there is just, you know, they congregate together, they live together, and they respond together. But it's a place like any other. And yes, if you have personal stuff, there's a possibility things will get stolen, and things have been over the past couple of years.
So do they believe it's being stolen when the firefighters leave the building?
I didn't get into that detail.
Okay.
That's between Chief Nelson and Deputy Chief DeTore.
You're just going to film it and give him the raw?
No, he doesn't even get the raw footage. So if there's a report of a problem, the footage goes to legal first to discuss it, and then if legal releases it, then the chief gets it. Only the police department gets the footage directly. If it's a police issue, police get the footage directly, they deal with it. If it's any other town department, including fire department, it comes to town hall first, we discuss it, and then we send it off to the proper department.
So these cameras are going to be monitoring, they're going to be taping.
All the cameras tape, yeah.
And if something happens, then legal goes back first and reviews the tapes?
So if I get a call let's say I got a call from Chief Nelson that there was a theft or something around those lines, I'll pull the footage, I'll send it to Rick and to Brian for review. Either one of them will either review it, and most likely it'll be brought upstairs to discuss it. They'll either review it or have me send it off to the police department for the police department to deal with. Same thing we do for any other department who asks. Youth center, senior center, you name it.
How far back do you maintain the, I call it film, but the recording?
So we only do, town hall, I think, is at 90 days. Most of our buildings here are 90 days. The only thing that goes longer than 90 days is the police department. The police department goes back 1 full year. And that's expensive.
How big of a storage do you need to go 90 days?
To go 90 days, you need about 20 terabytes. Because all these cameras are now high definition, so you're now recording high definition video. In the old days, it was just analog video, so you could have a 10 gig hard drive and you'd probably be fine for 6 months. Not anymore. Now a 1 minute long little video clip is about a gig.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now the purpose really is deterrence?
It's deterrence, it's asset protection, and it's public safety.
When you say asset protection, it's not there's no laser beams coming out saying, shoot the guy who's stealing.
No, so when I say asset protection, it's still the optics of you walk onto a property that you want to burgle, and you look up and see a camera facing you from 20 feet up. You're going to think twice about approaching that because A, you can't reach the camera to disable it, and your face is already on there.
So that's why it works, because on TV you see them carrying shaving cream and they reach up.
Oh no, yeah, the little comedy, little comedy movies where they just reach up, little shaving cream, and they just walk by.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little analog camera that's about 6 feet high off the ground and totally inappropriate.
So these cameras are 20 feet high.
Some are, yeah. Except for the ones that are monitoring the pool for pool safety and drowning. Those are probably lower to the ground, maybe about 12 feet off the ground. But with staff actively on those premises, it's less likely to be handled inappropriately.
So $350,000 to cover the town.
That was before Town Field and Pheno Field.
Okay, so what is that going to add?
Pheno Field is $25,000 additional, and Town Field I haven't even begun to start looking at yet.
Okay,
But
now
I'm guessing slightly less, probably about $15,000.
you had mentioned that Pheno was the priority.
Correct, right now, yes.
How much because we're not going to be able to do anything in hundreds of thousands of dollars till the May meeting.
Yeah.
If we need something to do Pheno right away,
And Pheno is the emergency, yes.
emergency of 20 grand, 25 grand?
It's about 26.5 for Pheno Field.
Could you cover that in your?
I can cover that in my operating budget, yes, and, well, we can hope till May, yes. But yes, I can cover it currently in my operating budget.
Because what I was
going to say, we have
our fund.
You have your fund, and I'd hate to have to tap a fund this early in a fiscal year. So yes, we could cover it by operating. And
Remember Highway?
Yeah.
When the heater went out?
Yep.
And Shelley came to us and said, I can probably cover the first heater.
yeah,
I won't know till March. And we said, fine, we'll cover it now.
yep.
If you need money to
Yeah.
make your budget whole, we'll talk about it then. And I would say do the same thing.
Okay.
If we really need 20, say 30 grand,
Yep.
and you can take it out of your budget now,
Yep.
then we can see if you have to have it replenished at town meeting, or,
Okay.
as Joyce mentioned, we do have an emergency fund.
I know you have an emergency fund, but it's tapping the emergency fund at an end of a fiscal year is a lot easier than tapping it at the beginning of a fiscal year because you don't know what you're going to experience throughout this winter. So, yes,
Well,
I
that's
have a significant amount of funds left in my budget to cover that amount for the time being.
So when will we see a full proposal that's worthy of spending 300, 400,000 on?
Anytime you'd like one, I can create one as soon as you'd like to see it.
Yeah, I really would, because people are going to want to know the details
Yes, yeah.
before we vote on $400,000 or recommend that the full FinCom vote on 400.
Yep.
You know, we,
No, I have every estimate, so I have everything
where are you
outlined.
covering, why?
Yep. You got it.
Trying to think.
Sorry.
No, it's a sad fact that a brand-new $5 million pool is already being,
Well, listen, we can't speak for society, but you have a lot of kids, and a lot of kids have attention issues, and a lot of attention issues require acting out. Not all kids do it to mean harm, but some of them just do it because they're bored.
but whatever the reason,
Yeah, it's
we
happening.
got to deal with it. Do you have any questions?
You mentioned before the Godfrey Brook.
Yes.
And Congress, those already have cameras there?
So Congress Street does. Godfrey Brook, we are waiting for the installer to actually install them. Yeah. We had some issues around getting the wiring up to those areas because if you ever walk inside the Godfrey Brook pump station, there's no second floor. It's just one really tall building. And getting wiring up to that 40, 50-foot tall peak is not easy because there's nothing for the wire to grab onto and actually secure to. So, yeah. But even though they're not done yet, it's not a cost that this
Yeah.
committee's going to see. It's already in.
Was already in with whatever money was allocated for that.
Cameras are already purchased. They're just sitting waiting for installation. Yeah. And the cameras, oddly enough, are the least expensive issue. It's usually labor.
Well, it sounds like we should move on the Pheno Field.
Yeah.
Have you, we recommend that you take it out of your budget, monitor your budget, and if you can,
Always monitor the budget.
well, no, but I'm just saying, watch it. Because if you need to be replenished, if it can wait, if you don't have to replenish it, that's even better.
Yep.
If you do, and you can wait till May town meeting, that's good.
I know I'm going to have to replenish it because when I submitted budget last year, a lot of my costs had gone up, including licensing, so there wasn't any room for wiggle in my budget because I had to increase for licensing costs. So I'm just there are some things I'm no longer using this year, which is nice. So I have some savings, but not $30,000 in savings. So
But I guess my point is, if you can replenish in May,
yes,
that's easy.
Yep.
If not, we'll, at the next full Finance Committee meeting in December, we'll bring up this and advise the committee so that they know that you may be coming back before May
okay.
for 30 grand or for whatever piece of 30 grand you need. And then we'll have you back in when the full committee to talk about a $400,000 package.
Well, we're going to hope and try to keep it under 400,000. So we'll see.
I hope so, but everything seems to be,
Yeah, costs are not coming down. Gas is coming down, oddly enough, but costs aren't.
of course, gas is coming down and this project uses no gas. So,
Well, from a town standpoint, we use gas. So if the gas prices go down, it's at least helping us.
yeah, no, overall, anything that goes down helps. And do you have a question?
No, I'm good.
You want to make a motion?
I'll make
to
a motion.
recommend
I'll make a motion to recommend to use the necessary funds from current budget.
Ending, yeah.
Ending, and if necessary, we can replenish it at a later date.
And I'll come back to the next capital subcommittee meeting, and we will discuss the presentation of the camera project in paper so you can see it in advance.
Perfect.
All right?
I'll
I'll
second
make sure to
that.
get it out to you guys a couple
Unanimous.
days in advance of the meeting so you can review it. So
That's it.
that's it.
Thank you, kind sir, and
You're welcome.
I know I bust your chops all the time, but thank you for the job you're doing.
You're welcome.
It's well appreciated. You know, when we first started using the equipment that Paul Revere installed, we did the best we could. But when I look at what's been done at police and dispatching and all,
Yeah.
I mean, the tin cans and the wires are no longer strung from car to car.
We just can't use it anymore. It's unfortunate.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Last minute, the meeting minutes, do you have any issues with those, or can we
No.
approve those?
Yeah, we can approve those.
Make a motion?
Motion to approve minutes from the last meeting.
Capital minutes or full FinCom minutes?
No, I don't do full
Cap-
FinCom.
Capital.
That's Dr. Andy.
Just for the record, I'm just making sure you're saying it, that's all.
Yeah, no, this is capital only.
You know, I always have open meeting on the mind, so.
We had one item posted, that was this, and review the minutes. This is really not an item, but it's procedural.
It's procedural, yeah.
So that's all we're going to talk about. Come December, I'll send out the schedule for the departments to bring their capital plans through. Hopefully, the capital will be light in IT after this.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it would be. So we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
It's not debatable. Since you made the motion, I assume you're in favor of it, and I'll second
Yes, I
it.
am.
Meeting is concluded. Thank you for anybody who's joining.